Bernie, as a loan officer, how do you navigate the very first call with a client, with a borrower?
Wow. So important, the most important call, right? So if you're a loan officer, one of your main duties is to convert the referrals. You get referrals, convert those referrals, and then you have to go find a referral partner. So number one, Rick, you can never delegate that call. Okay. You're the point guard. You're the quarterback. You are the best player in the team. You need to talk to that new referral, right? This new client. Okay. So, but we also don't necessarily want to spend an hour and take like a full app. We kind of want to, we want to use our technology, our tools. Okay. But we do want to connect. So, obviously I have a format for this. I have a script for it. So let's say you're a new buyer. You pick a realtor. I'm going to ask you where you got my name, and you're going to say you got it from a realtor. Okay. And then we'll go down the line from there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm calling you.
This is Rick. Actually, I'm calling you, right?
Well, if I got your name, I train my realtors to send me your name. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Hey, is this Rick?
Oh, this is Rick.
Oh, man. Rick, I am so excited to talk to you. My name is Bernie Miller, and I think Susan, your realtor, let you know that I would be calling. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, she did tell me that a loan officer named Bernie would call me.
Okay, I love it. Well, hey, man, I'm excited to talk to you. So, well, hey, first of all, how do you know Susan, the realtor?
She was referred to me by a friend from church that bought a home from her and said to work with her.
Oh, I love that. And have you guys had a couple of meetings? Have you guys met already?
We have. My wife and I and her had looked at a few houses, and we're super motivated and excited to buy our first home.
I love that. Well, hey, you got really, really lucky, my friend. I think Susan is an amazing realtor. She's her and I have known each other for a long time here locally. I met her through the Chamber of Commerce. She's super community oriented, but she really knows the community. And she is a full-time agent. That's really important. A lot of agents just, maybe they do a couple of deals a year. She is all in. I'm just telling you, Rick, she is a home run. So hey, congratulations on that. I really trust Susie. It sounds like you trust Susie as well.
Absolutely. She's awesome so far.
Okay. Super cool. Well, hey, you can trust me to guide you through this process. Okay. Do me a favor. What did Susie say about me?
She said that you'd be giving me a call and you're the guy to help me get approved for a loan.
Okay, cool. I love that. Very good. So let's just start with some basics. Okay. I've got a few questions, not crazy. Okay. And we'll get to it for sure. So kind of summarize kind of what you need. How can I help you today to make this call successful?
It's a good question. I haven't really thought about that. Susie just told me that to connect with you and you would navigate me towards buying the home. So I guess what I need from you is a pre-approval letter. Is I think what she told me I needed.
Okay, great. So that's where you guys are at. I love that. So pre-approval for purchase. I love it. Before we start down the path, Rick, are there any questions about the loan process or loans in general that you have right now that I can hit right away before I get you into the process?
Good question. I guess the things we're not really sure of is, how much money we need to take for closing cost. I understand that we got to bring a significant amount of money to closing, which we have savings, which isn't a problem, but just kind of having a better understanding of how that works.
Okay. I love that. So great question. Hey, most of my buyers that have successfully bought had those exact same questions because it can be confusing, but it's really not confusing, right? That's why I'm here to try to take some of that out of it. Okay. Okay. I love that. So let's start with, are you renting right now? And if you are, like, what's your monthly payment?
Yeah, we're currently renting. My monthly payment's about $2,500 a month.
And then based on either homes you've looked at with Susie or running some mortgage calculators, like what monthly payment, knowing that you're going to buy, do you think you guys would be okay with every month?
I think about $3,000 a month is kind of our max.
Okay, I love that. So I will work to keep that below 3,000. That's important. Hey, you mentioned kind of this cash to close. Okay, and we're going to go through all this stuff, but you actually don't need, some people think that you need like 20% down to go buy this house. Okay. And that is not the case. So, but it sounds like you have money saved. So how much money do you have in savings?
Let's say 35,000.
Okay. Love that. But now ideally we wouldn't spend all the money. So like in the perfect world, how much money would you like to put down or kind of be out of pocket when it's all said and done?
Good question. I haven't really thought of that much. I think Susie said there's programs where you can put as little as 5% down. So if we bought a $400,000 house, that'd be like what, 20 grand?
Yeah, 20 or 30,000 with some closing costs in there. And again, we'll talk about seller concessions, working with the sellers, seeing if they'll pay some of our costs. We're gonna get to that.
Awesome.
Okay, great. So what I hear you telling me is that if Susie and I working together and find you a home where the monthly payment keeps you guys below 3,000 and your total out of pocket is somewhere in that 5% down range, let's say that's 25,000, that would meet your needs and we'd be ready to make an offer, hypothetically.
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
I love it. Perfect. Okay, good. So those are some things I need to do. So Rick, the next step is I'm going to send you my application link. So we have some pretty amazing technology. You can actually do this on your phone. Okay. And you're going to fill out, we call a client questionnaire. Okay. So this client questionnaire, and it's almost going to be like back in the old days, if you ever went through TurboTax, it's going to ask you questions about your situation. You're going to answer them. And in the end, it's going to say, okay, upload a pay stub, upload a W-2. We can link to your bank account so you're not printing out a bunch of statements. It's all completely secure. Okay. It goes through like the bank portal or whatever, right? But we're trying to use that to make your life easier. Now, if you can commit to me to do this over the weekend, okay, because it's Friday at 2:00 now, Monday or Tuesday, me and my loan partner will get you back on a Zoom call with your wife, and we will walk through what we call our pre-approval meeting and go through all these numbers, all the options, and you'll know exactly what we can do. It'll be visual. I've got a spreadsheet that's pretty easy to follow. So do you think you could get this stuff done over the weekend so we could meet again on Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I love it. I'm sending that now. I'm going to text you all of my contact information. So you're going to have all my stuff on your phone. Okay. And hey, this weekend, if you run into a snag or you have a question, bro, just text me. Okay. I'm married. I've got 5 kids. I'm running around all over the place, but I'm pretty much tied to that phone. So I'll be responsive. Okay.
Awesome.
Love it. Okay. That's all I have, my friend. If you do that for me, we'll be back on video on Monday or Tuesday.
So, Bernie, let's talk about that script. Let's talk about how you handle that, because there are some things that I was expecting you to say that you didn't, and there were some things you said that I wasn't expecting you to say. So most loan officers, when they talk to the client on that first call, they usually don't. They just text them, or that call is like, hey, complete the link first, right? I feel that most loan officers are having them complete the link first. Why do you feel that you need to have a call like this before they complete the link?
Several reasons. So number one, everybody is so nervous to get shopped, to get rate shopped. Okay. Except that people think you start getting rate shopped when you're looking to lock. And that's not the case. If you have built all of this rapport and love and trust, you never get rate shopped because they don't have a reason to, right? So a couple of key phrases I used, Rick, when I do the triangle of trust, okay, you notice I made you say you trusted Susie. I told you I trusted Susie. And I very softly kind of transition. Well, hey, you can trust me to get you down the road in this transaction. Something like that, right? Trust, trust, trust. You have to close that. It's really important. But then I asked a critical question. What did Susie say about me? Now, I want to know that because in your case, well, I mean, hey, basically said Susie said, you're best loan dude. You should do our loan. Okay. So I like that. That tells me that I've been strongly referred. Now, if for example, you would have said, "Oh, you know what? I just saw your name on a shopping cart at the grocery store, you know," and Susie kind of said, "Yeah, he's the shopping cart guy." Then I'm like, "Ooh, man, I need to do some other things to get deeper with Rick because I have not been strongly referred." Right. So I want to know what the realtor said. Great.
Smart.
Okay. And that's the whole reason I do this intake. It makes them feel honored. I ask them questions. And you notice when I asked you, you know, kind of the questions, hey, do you have any questions before we get going? That's where I would have learned, well, I talked to a couple other loan officers and they said this, or we were trying to buy 6 months ago. We couldn't get the loan, or, you know, wow, you know, my credit, whatever, right? But most of the time I get kind of, well, I'm not sure exactly what I need to ask about. And great. Whatever they say, you make them feel good. You just say, that's a great question, right? So like in our Hormozy scripting, that's a great question. Almost every buyer I've helped has started with those questions. And I promise you, I'm going to get those answers, right? Just that objection framework, even though it's not really an objection. But I want you to feel good. Buyers feel intimidated. They feel nervous. So I want them to ask a question that I can just say, great question, right? And then I really only want to know 2 key numbers. That's it, right? How much you think you can pay every month, how much you want to bring to the closing, right? But I also, if you notice, Rick, I closed a little bit. I said, okay, so what I hear you saying, Rick, is if Susie and I together, team, we're one package, right? If we can find you a home that's less than $3,000 a month and keeps you out of pocket 25 grand or less, you'd be ready to make an offer. Yeah, I think so. Great. Right. So then I can call Susie back, the realtor, and be like, hey, I think these guys are definitely, you know, RTB, ready to buy. If I can get them pre-approved, I think they're serious. That's great news. Right. Because she doesn't know, right? Our realtor partners need us to help validate them too. Right. And you notice when you said you're working with Susie, I spent a minute telling you how great Susie is, right? So my other lesson to loan officers out there, okay, is when you sit with your best referral partners, your best realtors, you should show them what you say to this buyer, right? You should take this script and write it out, and in one of your one-on-one meetings with them, say, hey, by the way, this is what I say to the people you refer. Here's how I do it. Here's why my conversion's so high. And oh, by the way, here's how I honor you. I tell them you're awesome. Right?
We represent them, so we want them to see it.
Yeah, all that stuff matters. So you wouldn't keep it a secret. You would share that with your realtors. But then we do what we call the assumptive close, right? Which is the next step is. So Rick, the next step is, now you notice there's a couple of words I use in there. I say it's and here we use Blend as our kind of our POS system, right? I say it's a client questionnaire. I don't call it an application. And I do that because if people are nervous, they don't want to apply, right? Applying kind of implies that half the people get denied, right? They don't get denied. They're scared of that. So I call it a client questionnaire. And of course, if you've ever used Blend or Flowify, that's how it looks like. It's nice and smooth, simple. They ask you questions, you put in the answers. So
wonderful.
That's used. You could, go longer if you need to. Some clients are going to have more questions and need more help. But hey, if you can do that 15 minutes, get them on to the next, get in front of a pre-approval, that's sticky enough, I think. But But for sure, you have to do the first phone call. And I think the whole just send them a link is just starting off on the wrong foot, right?
Yeah, one of the things you talked about is people are afraid of being shopped for rates or whatever. Early in my sales career, I've learned create a great experience in the beginning, ask lots of questions, and they won't shop you because they don't want to have to do that again. They don't want to take 30 minutes to an hour out of their time to do this all over again. So ask them a lot of questions up front, go deep, so that way they don't want to have to do it all over again.
Right. And you notice we close, and we haven't done this scripting yet. We close for a video pre-approval. And so I think the number one way to not get shopped is to meet that client in person for pre-approval or over Zoom video. Either one's fine. But when my loan officers me when they're getting shopped and they're looking for advice, the first thing I ask them is, did you meet this person on Zoom face-to-face for pre-approval? And 9 times out of 10, it's like, well, you know, it's my brother-in-law, so he said we're all good, just send him the stuff, and now we're here. Like, that's right, right? It's your process, right? It's your funnel. You got to put people through it because it makes a difference. It makes them feel great in the end, and then it works out.
Wonderful.
Cool.